So, when you have a book that has a lot of information in it and you're going to be using it for years, and especially a rule book, rules change. And one way that you can know that rules have changed is with the publisher releasing errata. Now, errata is useful, it's handy, but it isn't always clear on whether the books you have actually have errata or not. So, one of the things I'd like to clarify in this particular quick tip is to kind of show you where you can find out what printing you have and where you can go to find that errata. Now, my name is Don. I'm trying to be the theSlyStrategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, before I get to the main part of the video, I am going to say that there is going to be a spoiler towards the end of this video. What I will do is I will create a chapter marker so that people can go ahead and skip it. It'll be labeled spoiler and everything like that. But I want to present the information. But if people don't want a spoiler, I want to make sure that they're aware that one could be coming up and how they can skip it. Now with that, let's get back to the video. Now, maybe you found a nice used book at a store somewhere, or maybe you ordered a non-mint book off of the Paizo.com website. You could have gone to the library online or maybe a physical one, and you're not sure how old that particular book is. Or you might just have a book that you've had for a bit, or sometimes even relatively new books will have errata like treasure vaults. And personally, I appreciate the corrections. However, maybe it's hard to find out where to find all those things. So let's go ahead and cover where you can see the printing. So if you have the physical book, and I'll go ahead and include a little picture up here, but I can also show an example. So I'm going to go ahead and use my advanced player's guide. So what you would do is you would go to the back of the book, and basically in the OGL section, which I'll kind of show right here, you will have at the very bottom, it'll tell you the printing. Once again, I'll go ahead and put a picture up as well, but this is the second printing of the Advanced Player's Guide. Now, if you're using a PDF, you can bring up the table of contents in the upper left, at least on Windows computers, and using that menu and go to the OGL, and I'm assuming in the future it'll be the ORC section once we actually start getting books published under that, and you'll see the printing at the bottom. And once again, I'll show another picture, but this is from my core rule book. Now, once you know the printing, where do you go to actually find this information? Well, let's go ahead and cover that right now. So the first place to check is going to be the Paizo Pathfinder official FAQ at paizo.com/Pathfinder/FAQ. On this particular page, you can see all the rule books, you can see all the settings books that have errata. And just because your book has an additional printing doesn't necessarily mean it has errata. My Game Mastery Guide is actually in the second printing, and it doesn't have errata. Now, there was changes announced to how they are going to start releasing errata, and it was put on the Paizo blog in January of 2023. So Paizo released a statement that covers basically how it's going to be changed in the future, and I personally think it's going to be a good change. So what I'd like to do is I'm just going to highlight the little section on this particular blog entry, and I also would like to just kind of read the statement so that it's kind of clear, is that starting this year, we will release errata twice per year, once in the spring and once in the fall. Since errata will no longer be tied to reprints, it frees us up to cover errata issues from a wide range of products as well. We hope this will allow us to be more responsive to your questions and any issues you might have spotted with the game, so keep posting your questions to paizo.com. Now, if we go back to the Pathfinder FAQ, you might say, well, I don't see anything for adventure paths or organized play scenarios. I mean, it's not on here at all. So where do you go? Well, those are handled a little bit differently, at least in my understanding. And if I'm incorrect, please correct me, and I'll put the information in the description of this video. But for campaigns, you go to the message boards. You would go to paizo.com/community/forums/Pathfinder or Starfinder if you're doing Starfinder. And you can go to the Pathfinder Adventure Path section, or if you're looking for Starfinder, you could go to the Starfinder Adventure Path section. And I am specifically going to go to Abomination Vaults because I do know of a change that has been made due to a pretty deadly encounter. So we'll go ahead and go to Abomination Vaults. And wait for it to load. And once it does load, you're going to see at the very top, there's going to be a sticky that is going to relate to each one of the books in that particular adventure path. Now, it's not specifically errata, but it might be discussions on changes to make common TPK events or parts that might be hard to run available to game masters. And the Paizo staff is very active in these threads, so I do appreciate that. Now, here is where a spoiler is coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and wait a second or two and put a chapter marking in the video so you can go ahead and skip this section because there is a spoiler coming up, but it is a very well-known one and will illustrate the point. There is one very well-known TPK event in book 1 involving and one of their abilities. So since this is in the first book, you would go to the first book. Now I have it kind of highlighted up here already, so I'm just going to switch to another window. But it basically talks about how he has an ability that will kill a good number of parties that go up against it if they just roll poorly or if a series of events happen. But the percentage of parties who wipe because of this particular ability or player characters who die, especially when they're just beginning their adventure, happens a lot. And that would basically be has a ability. So Paizo recommends that you switch out for. Now what that'll do is that will doesn't necessarily decrease the difficulty of the encounter, but decreases the fact that with one hit, you can wipe out a character, especially if you do it to the wrong character. So if you're looking for adventure pass or organized play or things along those lines, I would go to the forums. They're not necessarily errata. They are basically just changes that take place that could make the game easier to run, or heck, sometimes maybe to make it harder to run, or to just clarify certain points of each adventure path. Now, I do hope you enjoyed this quick tip on errata and where to find it and why it's important, and also maybe the part about the adventure pass and where you can find out information on how to modify it in a way that's kind of authorized by the company, or just might be good suggestions from other game masters who have already run that particular adventure path. But if you did like this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, or hit that notification bell as more videos come out. However, regardless of what you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.